This is Principles of Passion. Principles of Passion. Chris Thomas.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I followed my passion.
I have a dream.
And Dominic Semina.
You better come to work.
This is it.
Perfection.
Oh, it's about to happen.
With guest MAVOHN Agnew, Cloud Architects.
Just keep going. Find that thing you love. If you can find that thing that really gives you joy, that'll be it.
In Stoicism, the belief is, you live for the moment. You don't let your emotions get the best of you. It's just like you have this moment, and it's not really appreciated. We spend so much time thinking that we don't spend enough time doing the action.
It's Principles of Passion.
Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
Thank y'all for tuning us. Principles of Passion. This is episode number 13, the unlucky number 13. If you look around, you'll see we're missing one face. And a good friend of mine, Denora, we wouldn't be here without her. She's big ups to her and just the work that she put in. Keep an ear out. You're gonna hear from her. She's gonna do some amazing things. I can't afford her right now, in all honesty, is what I think it came down to. I think we have very similar paths to line. I think she's going to do great things. So I wish the best for her and just everything she's going to do. Great friend. You're welcome anytime as a guest on the show. We'd love to have you, Denora. So big ups to her. Again, we're on episode number 13, Principles of Passion. We come a long way. Part of this is creating value from nothing. Like we started this from nothing. We started it, and not nothing, but with our ideas in our head, right? With what our abilities are and what our skill sets are. MAVOHN Agnew, our guest today, he's a cloud architect with Capgemini. I think he's done a lot of that in his career of really just digging deep and trying to bring some value to himself, to his career, his community, and his family. So, MAVOHN, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, kind of what you're doing, and where your journey came from and where it is now.
Absolutely. So currently I'm a cloud architect with Capgemini. Been a long and very rewarding IT journey, and I still have a long way to go currently.
Yeah.
So, that's my current space right now. I'm going into more of the entrepreneurship realm right now. I started my own business, and, it's called Team OTG, which stands for Technology, Empowerment, Athletics, and Mobility on the Go. So it's an innovation, tech, and apparel company, and we just focus on integrating those three different spaces and how to improve daily lives of this, the average person. So, that's currently what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm getting married in a week, so I got a lot going on.
Congrats.
So it was official.
It's official.
But you're traveling to Dominican Republic, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm actually leaving out tomorrow morning.
So thank him for coming on the show, even though he has a 5 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that, man. Big ups to you there. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Congrats. So what we're talking about and kind of the basis to the show is, and Dom, why don't you kind of go ahead and give a synopsis of what we're trying to do? I know I've told MAVOHN before, but kind of in your...
So a synopsis of what we're trying to do is episode 13, creating value. Last week it was living in the now. What better way to follow up with living in the now by creating those thoughts that you have in your head, making them value, making your opportunities.
Yeah. And the whole show is just about overcoming adversity.
Right.
I know, and we talked about that. You've overcome some things in your career as a young and black male, right? Not just young person, but a black male, and in IT, where there's very limited of us right now, wouldn't you say?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So tell me kind of what a big challenge for you has been in creating that value or demonstrating to others what your value is.
Well, I would say first, what's the definition of, creating value? And to me is pretty much making something out of nothing using your effort and wits, because you always got to be on just thinking as you go when you're trying to create value. And value it looks in many different ways. It can be on the lower end where just, I have my son creating me a Father's Day card, and he's putting that effort, that time in, just to show that he loves and support me on that special day to me.
Yeah.
Or it can mean, you got a friend that's loaning you some money, or
Right.
taking you somewhere you got to go in your time of need. And even if they can't provide you, that effort shows that, hey, I have value in my friendship. They come to me at my time of need. And, you can go on more of the extreme side of things with building foundation, um, and also just providing value in the many roles that you play in your life. So I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a son, I'm a friend. So each one of those, you want to understand how can you provide value in each one of those roles.
Yep.
Yep. So I mean, for example, being a father and a husband, I want to make sure I have that foundation in place for my kids, my grandkids, my family, my friends. As an entrepreneur, I'm looking at it as a culture standpoint. How can I provide? How can I be an example to my community? How can I be a mentor? How can I give back? How can I, help people get on the right path? So them are some of the things I think about when I'm hearing about creating value.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. And Dom, I read a quote by Ann Landers. And
Okay.
It stuck out to me, and I thought I'd ask a little bit of your advice on it and
Nice.
some words of wisdom. So she said, "Too many people today know the price of everything and the value of nothing." What do you think about when you hear that?
Wow. When I hear that, the first thing that comes to mind is people's mentality is everything is replaceable, and they don't really see the value. It's one of those things where it's hard to like talk about without saying the definition. It's like defining something without using it. So, but value, I would say it is that value. So, I would say hearing that quote, people have become so materialistic that they don't see the value in things. They don't see all the effort and everything behind it. It just comes to a point where, you have it, and if something happened to it, you would have no problem getting rid of it or replacing it without thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's similar to the line of thinking that I had. What I look at is with a lot of students that are trying to make it into the workforce. Like I was at Harper College today, or Harper Court, and there was a big career fair put on by Solve and some other organizations. But in talking with a lot of the students there, um, they don't know what they're good at, right? And what I'm learning is that we're all salesmen and saleswomen in life. When you walk down the street, you're selling yourself to someone, even though you don't want to think that. And selling yourself is all about creating value. When you go get a job, you're creating value. You're selling yourself. So people can say, I'm not a salesman, but if you've ever had to go and get a job, you have to demonstrate what value that you can create for them. And so I'm trying to teach some of these younger students that, because I ask them, hey, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? Oh, nothing. I like to do everything. Well, it's like, if it's nothing or you like to do everything, then you haven't uncovered what you're good at yet. And haven't learned yet how to show your value.
The
So,
specific trait that sticks
yeah,
out.
it's kind of that balance of knowing what it costs to live and knowing what value you're bringing to your organization or the community. You know what I mean? So let me ask you guys this: what are some things that people can do that feel like they have little to no value to bring or create more value to themselves and those around them? Any suggestions, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, what I go by, the three pillars of value. The first one is culture, the second one is improvement, and the third one is movement. And I can go through each one of those different pillars
Yeah,
and
please
just
do.
kind of give you some of those examples.
Please do, yeah.
When it comes down to culture, I feel like, what's your foundation? And when foundation, I'm just not saying, hey, with your family or amongst yourself. What can you provide to your organization you might work for, to your family, to your community? Like, you want to build some ground roots into whatever you're a part of to build that foundation for your culture. That's the only way that you can start a value, just having people think about, hey, I'm a part of this foundation. I can be a part of this. I can grow within
I
this
can
foundation.
sacrifice, I can give
Exactly.
time, even that. Even though
So
I'm
that's
not getting
building
anything
that
back. Yeah.
foundation right there and being an example.
Right.
You always want to be an example. You'll never know who's looking.
Right.
You have nephews, nieces, you have neighbors. Anyone can be looking. So you always want to be that example.
Right.
Because a lot of people look for that motivation. And for example, Tiger Woods, he just won the Masters.
Right.
And
Yep.
I was just reading that it was someone that retired from golf. They came out of retirement because they was that motivated that Tiger Woods
Wow.
won the Masters. So that's being an example. That's having some type of motivational. That's giving someone some energy
Yeah.
to move forward and say, hey, I want to be great at this, or let me give it another try, or I want to do something in my life. That's bringing that value out in them.
Leading by example.
Exactly.
And doing it to your utmost ability. Yeah.
And the third thing in culture is meaning. You got to figure out your meaning. What I'm doing this for. What's the meaning behind me doing this?
Why? What's your why?
What's your why? What's your goals? What's your purpose? You got to really understand that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only way I really feel like you can dig deep and understand what's your true value, your true potential. The second pillar is improvement. Goes to who am I? Just figuring out what's your strengths, what's your growth, challenges, and just understanding just your environment overall, your surrounding. Just coming up, figuring out a plan for yourself. How can you improve? How can you continue to move forward with your strengths you have right now, and what can you provide? So that's the improvement that I see. And the third pillar is movement and finding the path that's for you. A lot of people would say, hey, you need to go down this path. This is the traditional path you need to go down. That don't work for everyone. It didn't work for me.
Right.
So I had to really dig down deep and say, what works for me?
Right.
I didn't do the traditional 4-year college. I didn't do that
Yeah.
because it didn't work for me.
Sure.
So I had to find an alternative path that worked for me and that helped me be successful. And that it takes a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of starting over, but it's rewarding at the end of the day. The second part is diverse in thinking. You can be just tunnel vision sometimes. You got to really be diverse in thinking. Think different areas, be diverse in your education, your knowledge, because that's how you can provide into different areas. That's how you can provide value in different areas.
Right.
So, hey, I do IT, but I also know business. I also know agriculture. I also know whatever other spaces, just be diverse in thinking. Understand different backgrounds of people too. That's very important to expanding your network. So I think being diverse in thinking is very important.
Okay. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, and you hit on a lot of things that I think are pretty foundational to getting confident with yourself.
Yes.
And part of that, a lot of people don't have the vision, right? And so my advice to them would be, as you are trying to create value, everyone's good at something, right? You may be great at cleaning. Honestly, you may be just great at communicating with people. You may like IT, you may not. You may never have done it and be willing to. You may try, you may not like it. So I think the more you put yourself in positions, I was talking to one of the interns over here earlier, and just understanding his point of view, and putting himself out there, and just being in college and being able to immerse himself in different arenas. When you say, Kush, that's been pretty foundational for your growth, right? Just being able to learn new things. Yeah, helping others. Yeah. So, it's about giving and not expecting to get anything back, but also giving because it's what you love. Like I started giving to Year Up because I loved it. Like I love working with students. I love mentoring and coaching. And look what became of it. I got offered to be on a leadership council. I got offered this new job at Purpose Workforce, which is mentoring and coaching with students. So I think if you put yourself in positions to do what you love around people who love it too, whether you're getting paid for that or not yet, I think that can alone create value for you by immersing yourself in the environment that you're passionate. I see a lot of people, they want to go and do beats in the basement. Listen, my second cousin is No ID. If you don't know who he is, look it up. That's what he started doing, beats in the basement. That's what he did, but he took it somewhere. he created value with it. You know what I'm saying? So it's about finding out what you're good at and then grinding towards it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was in doing research. I found this other article, creating value out of nothing. So what I kind of want to do with you guys is go through each of these, and I just want you to tell me kind of what comes to mind on your end when I bring them up. And listen, if you're listening, obviously Facebook, Instagram, we always love your comments. If you have questions for MAVOHN or Dominic, feel free to ask. If you have questions for Denora, I'll relay them to her. Love the girl. Love you, girl. I wish you were here. Ask questions. You know, I think part of this is trying to get you guys engaged on Facebook, on Instagram. We want to know what we need to change in the shows, how we can ask different questions, how we can bring more topics to the table for you. I know there's people out there that are dealing with adversity, and I'm sure there's topics that we haven't touched on yet. I would love topic suggestions. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, let me know, and you want to talk about your adversity, you feel like you can have an impact on people out there, please inbox me, message me. Your passion first is every single handle that I have on everything. So, yeah, we look forward to future engagements with our audience. And again, our end goal is to start hosting career readiness festivals. Estimated start date June 2020. Working on building connections right now from a sales perspective, working on our editing, logo, and so forth. So just wanted to catch up on everything, where we are, where we can look to you for help on different things too. So stay tuned on those things. So back to this, I thought this would be something cool and different. I don't think I've done this before. I'll say one of these. Whichever one of you wants to comment, say what you want. Keep in mind, these are ways to add value with nothing. Add value by adding to somebody's knowledge base. Go.
Sharing something you know with somebody that doesn't know it.
Awesome. Awesome. Add value by fusing two or more things of value. Go.
Like I said before, being diverse. You know, learn how those two correlate with each other and just figure out the back end of those two topics that you're trying to integrate and, you know, combine together.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think what I liked about what you said is understand, right? A lot of people are like, oh, this fits together, this fits together. They must go together.
You
it's
understand the back part.
That doesn't work in relationships. Yeah. That doesn't work in technology. It doesn't work in anything, right? So you gotta look at two things and truly understand them, and then also how it correlates and understand how that holistically plays into everything. So I like that you said that. Add to an existing order. Go.
Oh, I got this.
Okay. I don't want to put him on the spot. Go ahead.
So during the summer, there's walks that support different kind of awarenesses. I add value to those by going to those, donate, just supporting a cause, fighting for something, because there always is somebody fighting for something. And as a community and as people, we should all just get together and support one another.
I love it, man.
Existing values.
I love it.
I got you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Help. It's help. You know, I was talking with some folks from the mentoring committee at Year Up, and we're like, how do we, like, get more engagements with the mentors? I threw out this one. I was like, Denora threw in Slack. We should use that. Here's another PM tool. And they're like, why don't we just work with what we have, right? And make that better and enhance it, right? I think a lot of people fail to do that in their lives. They're always like trying to progress and chase. It's like, work with what you have, right? And I wasn't even doing that to the best of my ability up until a year or two ago. But like, use your network, use the knowledge base, use the people that you have around you, but use them in a way where it's a relationship, where it's two-way. I got you, you got me, right? But look at everybody around you. Like you could meet someone. I was at the event today, the career fair. This lady, I would have walked past her, but for some, just say hi to her.
Right.
She was the lady that was running the career fair.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like you never know what you're going to run into with what's around you. So soak up every moment.
The intuition, too. You got to follow your gut.
Yep, absolutely. Add some atmosphere. Either one.
And I think that's what you bring to the table. If being an example, like I mentioned earlier, to your community.
Yeah.
Being a mentor as much as you can, and being able to be a resource to someone that's looking to or seeking to be better in life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's how you can add atmosphere in the situation.
Work ethic adds a hell of a lot of atmosphere to an environment of lazy people. You know what I mean? And I think it just they see him doing it, they see her doing it, they feel bad that they're not, and it changes environments. So you could not know anything, but if you come in and you're the hardest worker, you're adding value.
You got to be that example.
You're adding value.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Here's a tricky one. Add a coat of paint.
Step outside the norm. You have to, everyone, like you were saying earlier, there's like this path, and like they lay it out for you. It's not meant for everybody. It's the same thing. You add some paint of your own, add a unique little style to it. Just step out of the norm, do something a different way, and see where it takes you.
And to that point, I mean, that's awesome. When you're changing something, it's not just always you changing what you can control on your end. It's changing how someone else perceives it, and part of that is how you share it with them. So you may share something with somebody on 2 different days, and they're in 2 different moods. They're going to receive it in 2 different ways. So you got to control the part you can, but you got to understand your audience and understand the mood they're in, what's going on with their life. Maybe it's the wrong lighting. Maybe they caught a glare. There's a million things that could be happening. You got to understand both sides of it, for sure. This one should be easy, but take away someone's problems. Go.
I don't think you can take someone's problems away.
Ooh. You're honest. I'm going.
I don't think you can. Only thing you can do is, be there in their corner for them, support them as much as you can. Because this taking on someone's issues it can't be relatable. Sometimes it's not relatable to you, so you don't know how to approach that situation at times. So I think the best option to do is just be supportive as much as you can. Be in that person's corner, show them as much love and support as possible.
And there's people out there that need help at the end of the day. There's people that need physical help. There's people that need mental help. And so as a society, I think it's important for us to be more compassionate about that. I was sitting on the train today coming in, and this guy, and I got nervous for the guy standing up because it was, 30-some white guy. He's just standing there. Right. And this black guy, he's a little drunk, and like gets in the guy's face and yells at him, right? And like, I'm scared for the guy, but I'm not scared because I'll get up and beat this dude's ass. You know what I'm saying? But I'm scared because I see the look on the dude's face, and like, but then I think the dude gets off the train, and the other dude sitting across from me looks me eye to eye. He's like, this dumb motherfucker. And I'm like, we just got to pray for him, man. We just got to, people are acting out, right? Just like these kids at the school wearing the black faces today or yesterday, right? Where's that? Flossmore?
Homewood Flossmore, yeah.
They're trying to get people need attention, right? So if we can be more compassionate, again, that HF was another thing. Those are high school kids. That's wrong. I don't know if they were doing it to get attention or whether they're racist or not. I don't know. But people need attention. People need compassion. And I think we as people, because we're so caught up in our daily grind, we forget to give value and compassion and help people and say it fair for people.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think we as a whole need to do that more at the end of the day. Very true. Yeah. That's how you take someone's problems away. You be supportive. Take someone's fears away. Again, can you? Unless you're a hypnotist? Tell me what you think.
From a psychological standpoint, there's like a bunch of things you could do, but some got outdated because they were too dangerous. I don't know if you can really take people's fears away, but you can. There are some that you can understand, and there are some that you can't. At the end of the day, you can. It goes back to the support. You can only show people that you're there to support them and show them that what they're afraid of might not be the worst out there. It
As
could
scary as they think.
be exactly.
Yeah.
But to like take it away, that's something they have to want. They have to want to break that wall down.
Yeah. Sometimes it's immersion, you know. I was listening to some podcast or something where a psychologist was talking about one of his patients coming in and being fearful of opening something. And so he just kept bringing him in and bringing him closer to it and then touching it and then saying, hey, if you get scared during this time frame, it's okay if you just walk away from this, and just slowly or more and more immersing him into the environment.
Oh, like
And
exposure
so
therapy.
more exposure. And so what I look at, again, my lens is always from students trying to get into the job market or workforce. I look at they fear failure, right? If you keep putting yourself in situations where you can fail, you will succeed. But you can't be scared of failure, because to get from point A to point B, unless you're already an expert at point B, you can't get there without failing. So if you want to progress in life, it's a necessity to fail. No one has ever gotten great at something without failing. And so I think people need to be more understanding of that and the process of attaining success. It's a journey. And each failure is something that builds your confidence, not breaks it down. You know, a lady was talking to me earlier too at the job fair, like, I'm just not that confident. It's like, well, you start by doing little things, right? And failing at them. Or being successful, you know, making your bed, success, small win. Putting your dishes away, success, small win. Going and interviewing at 10 companies. You fail at 5, you get 3 calls back. Big wins. You know what I mean? But you failed throughout that. You know, and I think it's just understanding those failures and not being scared of them. You know, I think that's how you get rid of someone's fear, is going at it, just going hard at it. You know what I mean? Some of these, I'm like, multiple sales from one customer, right? And think less customer focused and more people looking for their passion. Okay, I'll say it one more time. Multiple sales from one customer. If you guys ever stuck, point to me. I'll tell you where my point of view is.
I can start on that.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like it's being relatable in a way.
Okay.
So if you have, one person making multiple sales, that means you have to engage multiple people, different characteristics, different ways they like to be approached. And I feel like to be a successful salesman, you got to understand people, how to approach them, how to speak to them, how to make them feel comfortable. So I feel like it's more about being relatable to that person, how you can approach them, make them feel comfortable with you speaking to them, things of that nature. So
That's spot on, man.
yeah.
And again, everybody is a salesperson. If you think that you're not, then you are not going to get a good job, right? If you can't sell that you're good at something and tell someone about it, it's going to be really, really hard to get a job, even if it's that you're good at focusing and taking notes and paying attention and listening, the basics. But you got to be good at something.
Yeah, and just to add on that, that's how you build your network.
Yeah.
Just being a good salesperson, being relatable. It's a lot of opportunities out there. Building your network is just expand those opportunities for yourself.
Relationship based.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And business is getting that way just because of the fact that there's these global companies that, you could talk to someone in different time zones, different times of day,
Right.
Thousands of miles away. But how do you keep it relatable? And that's what companies are looking for, is people that can communicate well, that can build good rapport and good camaraderie with teams, for sure. Split up and sell the pieces.
Everyone, it's like we were saying earlier, everyone has something they're good at. And there's this saying, too many hands in the cookie jar. Sometimes you can't do everything. Sometimes you have to split it up. And everyone has to let their talent show, to collaborate on a project together, for example, and make the best of it, instead of everyone working individually and like having conflicting values or ideas and having their own idea. They have this big collaborative project.
Yeah, I like it. What I kind of look at is something I'm going through right now because we're in startup mode over at Purpose Workforce Solutions, and as we're bringing on new clients, the way our curriculum works, we have a 1-year mentoring and coaching program. It's supposed to be 1 year, but now we're coming across clients that want to convert over early. And so I think the challenge I'm facing is there's the full package 1-year markup, or we could split it up and charge you more by giving you this and converting them when you say you want to, but then it's going to be a little extra for the extra training. So we'll make more if they split it up, but they'll get it for cheaper if they keep the package deal. But it's client centric, so I have to do what the customer wants, but I'm splitting something up and making more money off of the whole piece if it's split up. So just the way I'm kind of looking at business right now. But I also look at that when you're trying to go in and split up different job duties in a position too. You know what I mean? Like, you may be able to do multiple things, show your talents. You may be having this job, but if you network with this guy and he teaches you this and you start learning and you're good at it, you're splitting up something to add more value. You know what I mean? To your point of building relationships with people. So.
And I think that's a good way for, if you think about a team environment or a team aspect, I think that's the key to success is delegation. Everyone be responsible for a certain part, having that communication together. I think that's a big key to having a successful team, successful company, accomplishing goals is making sure, everyone can do everything. Everyone is talented in their own ways. Everyone have their own strengths, their own challenge, growth areas. So I think having that delegation that tie into people's strengths, I think it'd be very helpful for a successful team and a successful company as well.
Absolutely. So, and that's what we're working on too, as we build this team out and bring new people on, and just try and understand what talents people are bringing to the table, what talents people really like that they're not using now, and what talents do people need to get better at, so that I can partner them with people that have those, and so we can all be even, be on that same playing field as a team. Yeah. So I did an event on Saturday, and I was moderating an event with just 4 very impressive African American gentlemen. One of them was a venture capitalist. Another was a credit loan officer. Another one did real estate, and then another one was a preacher and owned a church. But what we were discussing was Nipsey Hussle's rules of laws of entrepreneurship and ownership. And one of his quotes, it really stuck out to me, because you can create value, but at the end of the day, you got to be in the right place at the right time. And so he said, luck is just being prepared at all times, so when the door opens, you're ready. And like, that's so profound to me, even though it's so simple. You never know when you're going to meet your next boss, your next girlfriend or boyfriend, your next best friend, your next anything, right? But if you're not every day trying to bring your best self to the table, then you're not going to be meeting people and giving them your best first impression, right? That doesn't mean you can't fail. That doesn't mean you can't have mistakes. You know what I'm saying? What it means is, if you're not trying to fix that and progress beyond that mistake and doing what makes you happy and tick every day, you're not going to be bringing your best self, even if you are making 250 G's a year, right? If you're going home and hating your job, then you are taking negative energy away from yourself and from those around you. And so that's what I think about when I hear that. It's like, I always want to be positive as much as I can, because I never want to waste an opportunity to make my next move. You know what I mean? Let me leave it open to you guys. I mean, what do you think about that quote?
I believe in it. I'm on an energy basis level, just for the sole fact that it's like the environment question or the atmosphere question, like building your atmosphere. You always want to be your best self because people can see that and people can feel it as well, and it could bring the energy down. It could make you less likely to be wanted to talk to if you have that kind of negative mentality. You always just want to be your best self, like you were saying.
Yeah, and the preparation that falls under the three pillars of value I had on the movement.
Yeah.
And I think you definitely have to stay prepared. You got to know the audience you're going to be speaking to, the situation you're going in. Just being your best, because again, it's tons of opportunity that's going to always be presented to you. You're going to meet great people. You want to build relationships with those people. So do your research. Know who your audience is. Know what the opportunity in front of you lie, what that is. So I think preparation is such a solid core of the foundation of value.
Yeah.
So I really think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. And just to add to that, it's hard to be prepared when you don't have a plan, and it's hard to have a plan when you don't have a vision, right? And it doesn't take a lot to build a vision, but it takes a lot to stay true to it. And it takes a daily grind of dealing with the adversity. But, you got to plan things out because otherwise you're going to get skewed all over the place and you won't be aligned with your vision. Another quote from Nipsey too. I think this is the last Nipsey quote I have for today. I didn't know that much about him, to be honest, until I was doing research on just what he did for the community. And it sucks that people have to get killed for good things to hear about good things about him, right? Because he was doing some really, really good stuff while still staying true to his community. And like, there's a lot of people, I think, doing that, but it's not heard about until you're making a lot of money with it or until you're dead, So, again, if you haven't done research on him, I recommend you do. He did a lot, and I think there's a lot of people that are going to have that ripple effect, too, based on some of the work he was doing. But the other quote was, on a mission, your worst enemy is idle time. What do you guys think about that?
I think you have to have a strong mentality, just to get through life in general. Just going back and just thinking about my life, one of the biggest issues I see in society is that we're not taught what value is at an early age. We don't know how to value each other. We don't know how to value ourselves. We don't know how to value our community. And sometimes some people are stuck in that mind frame for so long, and that's where you have situations where people take each other's lives because they don't know the value of another person's life, or they don't take care of themselves because they don't care about themselves,
Right.
So they not, that happens a lot in these troubled neighborhoods, where there's not a lot of examples, not a lot of, the parents not involved, things of that
resources,
nature.
right,
Yeah,
right,
it just we're not taught what value is,
Right.
and I experienced that when I was younger, and it was definitely a journey to understand, hey, I am valuable in this world. I value myself. I value the people around me. But that does take time to learn and grow and figure that stuff out.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that. And it's tough.
yeah.
And I can't speak because I grew up in Oak Park since 5th grade. So I think the thing that moved me the most was going to see my dad, right? And going to see my grandma who lived in Oakville Gardens, right? Which is still the only existing projects around right now. And my dad comes home and he still goes and sees his friends out there. So what troubled me was the disparity between the two areas. What troubles me even more right now is while I live in Oak Park, I could go 3 blocks down, 4 blocks down to Central, completely different neighborhoods, right? It's like they don't know business there. They know that type of business. And like, to me, that's not how it's supposed to be, right? Especially when people are that close together. I think that's when you need to pull neighborhoods together. You pull people together. You find a way to pull people together. That's what we want to do with these readiness festivals. So our mission is strong. we will get there. We will. Let's see what else we have. We'll go over a couple more of these, and then we'll wrap up. There's a couple more that I really like. That, again, to anyone listening in, having trouble figuring out how to create value, how to sell themselves. I think these are very simple things to do. I think they will have an amazing impact on your life and your ability to communicate and sell yourself. And so before I say that, let me check in. Do we have any comments over there? Questions? No? Cool. All right. So, listen more. How can you just add value by listening more?
I think knowledge is power and feedback is power.
Feedback.
Criticism is power. A lot of people, they hear you, but they don't listen.
Yeah.
It's a difference between that. Listening to people that's providing you feedback, you can understand what some areas you need to grow in, what some things you need to, improve in your life. And don't take it as an attack. Don't be defensive, because depending on the person, it can come from a good place of their heart.
Yeah.
They want to see you doing better.
Right.
So I think it's important just to listen.
Yeah.
We don't know everything. We're not perfect. So, any positive feedback we can get, any knowledge that we can gather, I think it'd be beneficial.
Yeah.
So.
I even in just talking with Denora after, we agreed to go our separate ways, she gave me some criticism that I could have taken negatively, and it was basically, let Dom run the show, right? What I looked at it as is Dom's really, really good at what he does, and the words and the spirit and the integrity that he brings to the show. So what I took that as, let Dom speak more. I'm not on the show. You ain't on the show. But let Dom speak more. Do you know what I mean? And find out how we can all bring our best self, listen to our audience and what they say, and make sure I let my mans here speak and listen to any other feedback I get, whether it be negative or positive, because all negative feedback has some positivity in it. You just have to take that positivity from your own heart as opposed to the place that it's coming from. So you got to filter it and say, oh, okay, I could take it from here because this aligns with my vision and path. But when you don't know what that vision and path is, criticism is throwing you off, right? Because you're not aligned. So everything is like, oh, well, he's just saying that because he doesn't like me, or she's just saying that because she thinks she's better than me. It's like, oh, well, they're better than you.
Right.
So maybe you should see how they're better than you and how what they're bringing to the table can help you, as opposed to looking at it as a negative thing.
Exactly.
Just be there for someone, right? And we went over this one earlier. Tom, tell me a time. You're there for your grandfather all the time, right? But tell me.
Kinda just there for everybody, really.
Yeah, you are.
To me, it's just, I don't know, a lot of people look at it in a way as running from your own problems and stuff like that, but it's just, I know the things that I work on, and I work on myself every day. Like, every day and every chance I get is a chance to learn. But there's, people every day, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know the struggle they have. So even if they're strangers, it doesn't hurt to, give them a look, give them, hey, what's wrong? Give them some motivational words. And I would say that's how I support just kind of everyone.
Helper, man. Helper.
And I think when it comes down to that, it's energy. I think positive energy, it goes a long way. I believe in negative and positive energy. If you have a person that's positive, bring a lot of, just good vibes around you, a lot of encouragement, that goes a long way. It really does. So I think bringing that positive energy around a negative situation or a person in need at that time, it does help. Like you said, just saying hi to someone or, speaking to someone, approaching them in a warming manner, I think it helps. It really helps. I've been in a lot of situations, man. I don't even know people. They come up to me, have a great conversation, and that lightens my mood.
Yeah.
You know, so it helps.
Or just even a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, someone walk by
That
and
works, too.
smiles at you. It's like,
Like, oh, okay, nice.
smile back. Oh, I feel a little better now. You
Unless
know?
they flirting, right?
Yeah. Well, okay,
Then you're
okay.
in trouble.
Baby, you didn't hear that.
trouble,
I'm not flirting with nobody, all right? No, for sure. Just a quick smile. And then, listen, lastly, and this gets thrown around loosely because there's so many meanings that it has. Love people, right? Like, if you got a girl, love her. If you got a friend, love him or her. If you meet someone, meet them in a loving way. You know what I mean? Show them that there's no animosity between you because of your skin colors are different, right? Um, there's no animosity because they got an accent, or because their hair's a different way, or because they got ripped jeans, or because they got dirty clothes and they're on the side of the street. Like, love people, and I feel like we don't do that in, like, true love unless they're in our circle. That's the only time we love people. And some people still call that love, and that's not love.
No. It's
You know what I
toxic
mean?
love.
Right. So I think we need to get better at first defining for ourselves what love is and the different layers that it has. But, like, go out and like, share love with people. Don't share your hatred, BS, badass day with people. No one wants to hear that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Not
Try
at
and
all.
figure out what good you took from your day and, like, what love can you bring to someone. And listen, it sounds so cliche. Love, the feel. I'm being real, right? Because it gets thrown around loosely everywhere else. So why can't we just throw it around loosely as we relate with people and interact? And it's not to take away from people that fall in love, because that's a different type of love. There's a way to love a homeless person on the street, right? My boy Kush, one of our interns, before he doesn't come to the city often, telling me a story. He came today. He stopped by before here, went to McDonald's on his own, and gave chicken nuggets to homeless people. That's showing love. Basic, simple stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff moves me. And I know I didn't show enough when you told me, but, like, that stuff moves me, bro. So I appreciate that and your heart and your kindness for things like that. That's what it's all about. It's loving yourself, right? Until you love yourself, then you don't know what you're good at. And until you know what you're good at, then you won't be able to create value for yourself and for those around you. So, few job fairs. I was at one today at Harper Court. If you are listening in and you're at National Louis University, you get to see me 3 more times this week. So I'll be at a job fair tomorrow afternoon with their business operations pillar. And then I'll be at one Thursday. I forget if it's morning or afternoon with nursing. I do have nursing roles, patient care roles open right now. If anyone's tuning in and knows anybody looking to get into that space, there's not a lot needed, and the pre-training will be done by my company, Purpose Workforce Solutions. Friday, I will also be at National Louis for a symposium. So again, that is specific, and those 3 are specific to National Louis students. Feel free to stop by and see our booth, Purpose Workforce Solutions. For folks that do not attend National Louis, there was today Embassy Suites. So Thursday, May 2nd, is the Multi-Profession Diversity Job Fair out in Tinley Park. It is at the Tinley Park Convention Center, 18451 Convention Center Drive, Tinley Park. There's also the same or similar group putting on a diversity job fair at University of Phoenix. It is 13th floor, Suite 1300, LaSalle Street. So it's the University of Phoenix, Chicago campus, 13th floor, Suite 1300, 203 North LaSalle. There is, lastly, on next Tuesday, May 7th, so before our show, it'll start at 11 a.m., the Congress Plaza Hotel and Convention Center. And that is located at 520 South Michigan Avenue. So if you don't have a job, get out there. There are a lot of companies hungry to find people without skills but with good work ethic. So you got to think of how do you create that value and sell yourself to those companies. But more importantly, how do you love yourself and sell yourself to you first? Any parting words of wisdom from you two gentlemen? I'll let guests go first. MAVOHN.
Sure, awesome. One thing I would just like to tell everyone is don't let anyone limit your success. You know, be a trailblazer of your own life, your own path. Understand the value of yourself and know your potential. You know, combining all those things, that would definitely is a recipe for success. You know, long-term health, long-term wealth. I feel like that's the ingredients of value right there. Just thinking, going throughout my life, I appreciate the struggle. And the reason why I say I appreciate the struggle, because that really helped me understand who I am as a person, how I can overcome, you know, any obstacles, and understanding the value that I can bring to the table in all the type of roles I play in my life. So just really appreciate the struggle, because once you get through the struggle, the good times will be great.
Yep.
You know, so just want to tell everyone, keep their heads up, keep pushing, you know, just know yourself, love yourself, and just keep going forward, keep pushing forward.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
John, any parting words?
Every day you wake up is a new opportunity, new chance. Put those thoughts into play. Stay beautiful, people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everyone has value and is good at something. I think some of us just need to uncover what that is. If you don't know your worth or your value, then it's going to be hard for other people to see it. So remember, if you don't put your passion first, it's hard to chase your dreams. Thanks for tuning in. Principles of Passion. Hope to see y'all next week. Deuces.
Good night.
Thank you, appreciate it.